Hi everyone, this is Victoria and I'm here with your April tarot forecast. This is for Gemini, by the way, Gemini sun, moon, and rising. So if you're watching this for a sun sign, please check out videos for other placements as well. This has been a crazy week for me, so I am running a little behind with the readings, but I'll catch up this weekend as much as I can. For those who celebrate in Easter, happy Easter. And yeah, April is going to be a month of new beginnings and also of fast action, of acceleration, of getting that excitement and enthusiasm when you start a new project, turning it into tangible results, right? And this is not even about, specific expectations. It's more about seeing progress and seeing how that vision then converts into something beautiful, magical, impactful. We will start with a quick oracle message, of course, and then we will take a look at your personal space and love life, your career and workspace, and we'll get you guidance from the universe on how to best utilize the energy of the months of April. At the end, I'll post the messages from your person of interest to yourself. So, without further ado, of course, appreciate all your likes, shares, and comments. And if you're new, there's more info about my content and services in the description box. And of course, please subscribe so you don't miss any of my other readings. I do twin flame readings, I do special reads for lunation events. I didn't do it for the full moon because, like I said, this was an absolutely crazy week. But normally I do. and yeah, so there's gonna be even more going on now that I'm becoming more settled in the flow of content publishing, and I started recording videos on my spiritual insights and generally, best practices, tips and tricks that I'm learning that I want to share with you. I do those usually on my other channel, Mindful Bamboo, but I also cross-reference it in the posts in the community. So if you're subscribed, you'll be on top of things. With all that said, oh my God, you saw me shuffling, right? I just recorded a card of the day message and it was this card. So I guess I was already channeling, partly it was for your collective Gemini. But yeah, the message from the book was like, it might be scary because, new stuff emerges. Our psyche is not really dealing very well with new, with unknown, with, whatever feels like, like shaky, like a shaky foundation, but it's a temporary feeling. And if anything, this is a sign of a new phase, of something, of fresh energy too. And all these changes are happening for the better. So very soon you're kind of like going through that portal right now. Speaking of portals, tomorrow is going to be the 4/4 portal. And I think I will record a twin flame reading for that. But 4 is about foundation, right? So this month is 4/4. So it's like now it may be a minute where you don't feel like you have that solid foundation, right? Where it's shaky and it feels uncertain and scary. But very soon it'd be like hop, and in another moment you'll realize that you're now in a very different energy. And you're seeing the world differently, and you speak differently, and you want to organize your life in a different way. It doesn't have to be the entire life, obviously, but at least some area of it. Okay, with all that said, let's see what we have here with tarot. Oops, that would be the first card then. The moon. Speaking of the full moon that we just had. This is the Tarot Grand Lux deck. The good news for those who have been with me for a while and you missed the decks that I was using last year that I haven't used in the longest time, that is all gonna get fixed in the next couple of weeks. I am already, as we speak, shipping my stuff to my new place. I'm settling into that new place, and at least for May horoscopes, I'm gonna have those cards already at my disposal. I'm also about to order 1 or 2 new decks, so one way or the other there will be something new. I've actually found this cool deck that's called Ukrainian Tarot, and it's a magical story of how I came to know about it. But apparently they have it on Walmart Marketplace. So I am gonna get it, and I'm very, very excited about that one. But yeah, now at least I've changed some of the decks. So we have something a little different for the months than what I was doing for the previous one. The moon is your first, so this is for your personal space and love life. The moon is Pisces energy, and we just had, well, we had full moon in Libra actually. Then the second card here is the Empress. This is Taurus, so you could be dealing with a Pisces or a Taurus. And finally, Five of Swords here. We'll speak about this in a minute. For your career and workplace, you have the Eight of Wands, the High Priestess. This is another Piscean energy. And the Knight of Coins. And then finally, the advice, you have the Devil. This is Capricorn energy. You have Ten of Wands. And you have Two of Coins. And the bottom of the deck, the Star. Yeah. So a big part of that transformation, Gemini, is the healing that you've encountered in the last phase, and certain things that you were able to let go of and to kind of like shed it off with that last cycle and with the full moon that we just had. This full moon was a lot about your belief system, your connection to ancestors, connection to other realms, or you know, other states of being, I guess. Depending on your belief system, it will look a little bit different. But at the very least, it's between like life and death, those kind of relationships, right? What are your beliefs around it? And connection to the higher power, right? Connection, and as a result, it most certainly impacted, this was full moon in Libra, yeah. Impacted take on the relationships with other people, right? Me versus we, and what does the dynamic look like for you? What does good look like, right? Has it been good? So quite a few major arcanas here, actually. 4 out of 9 is considered a lot. So you're definitely experiencing divine intervention in the form of certain life experiences that are helping you see the truth for yourself, or get to know yourself better, you know, where you've succeeded, exceeded, what are your strengths, right? Versus where maybe you haven't been able to either see through the BS that people are giving you, or you felt sorry for them and kind of fell for it, right? There's something here about the illusion or being tricked into something, right? Whether it's in a general scale and revisiting past events, or it's somebody in your life right now who's doing this to you, and you're like, I kind of get it. I can tell that they're not being sincere, or they're taking advantage of me, or whatever the context is. This is a general reading. But for one or another reason, you feel like you still can't do much about it, or you can't get away from it. Like, or it's a lesser evil if you just go along with it. I was actually just thinking about it, and I had my own channeling earlier today. It wasn't more in the context of work life, but again, when it comes to relationships, it's like the foundation is the same. Where we feel sometimes like we're supposed to play a role, you know, that's better for us, that we feel more safe or more respected or more seen, more supported if we assume a certain part, a certain persona, rather than when we show up as is, right? And it's scary, and of course it's in our survival instincts to be likable, to be accepted, and maybe even celebrated in our community amongst our people, right? And that's why so many of us, if not everyone, is drawn towards these personas, or once we see a certain image of what is celebrated, you know, what kind of people do in this area of life or in this profession or whatever, people adore, people look up to, or they want to spend money with, you know, that's like, this is like a no-brainer that I can just do that, right? Easy. And then once it works, it's like, well, I don't want to mess with the system, right? I'll just continue going along with it. But these energies, the Empress and the Moon, they're definitely showing you, first of all, it's the mother-child connection, whether you're acting as a mother or a child here, again, up to you to interpret. But it's like this emotional weaving that takes you forward into other areas of your life or into your adulthood or maybe aging, where you didn't even think that mattered anymore, but it does, because that foundation is the same. I don't really see much here about another person other than this, how do I say this, a reminder, I guess, or an insight of somebody not doing their 100% with you, or not being fully committed, or just, what's the expression, essentially tricking you, right? But I don't necessarily see this as a primary love interest. Maybe it's somebody else in your life, but that story is in the middle of your personal space right now. And honestly, especially with this major arcana, that's what matters. Even if you want to say, this is my second cousin and I can just cut them off and never think about it again. You are being brought into this experience to learn something important, right? And of course, we have free will, at least to a certain extent, of how we want to handle it and whether we are ready to learn it, whether we are receptive of it, right? But don't push it away as something that's unpleasant or painful, or like a sore in your eye and you just want to get rid of it as soon as possible, right? See it as a scientific experiment, right? And it's kind of like, why is this here? What is this trying to tell me? Try to kind of take one step back and see it from a more neutral perspective. Going into your workspace, you have 8 of Wands, you have High Priestess, and you have the Knight of Pentacles, all very different energies. So what I'm seeing here immediately is that you will need a range of different skills to succeed in what you're building and where you're going. The Knight of Pentacles is the representation of being in process of building something up, whether it's a team or your capital, your budget that you want to invest, or that you need to achieve what you want to achieve. It's like it's work in progress phase, and maybe it's not moving as quickly as you thought it would, but every step is important. Every aspect of it is important, even if it feels like noise, even if it feels like this is a waste of my time. It's not, believe me. Whether it's about selecting strategy, and that could be, I don't know, as boring as like considering different insurance companies for a business. I'm just making it up, right? It's like, who cares, right? Like, it's paperwork, let's just do it, let's get on with it, move on. No, but it can actually make a very big difference in the moment when you need it most, right? Or the intuitive guidance here from the Higher Priestess, from your higher power, right? And from your higher self. Your intuition is speaking to you right now and is trying to deliver you the message of what is important here in your abundance, in your, it can be home life as well, by the way, especially if you don't necessarily have full-time job. Then those other areas like your hobbies, your everyday routine, they are represented in this area, right? So savor the journey, pay attention, and if anything, sharpen the saw. Somehow I feel like somebody needs to hear that part, and this is from Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Most Successful People or something, right? This is the classic. If you're not familiar with that expression, look it up. Sharpening the saw is one of the techniques, one of the 7 habits, where basically the essence of the habit is that, and why it's called that way, because it's like if you imagine somebody like sawing wood, like actual log of wood, it's going to take them so much more effort, so much more energy. It's going to be so much more draining if they continue sawing with like a dull saw, basically, rather than take a break. Yes, it's going to be a pause in the process. It's going to feel like I'm delaying myself, but once you sharpen it, you move on at a completely different pace, at a completely different vibration, and it gives you satisfaction rather than draining you when you're getting to that result. So yeah, don't try to run towards the result. This is more about sharpening your tools and getting it right, the journey, the process. You're building up that process for yourself, that template that you can then follow. And it's important that it's good quality, because that's what you want to then replicate, right? And automate and whatever else, again, makes sense for your context. not the bad process, not putting out fires. And finally, the advice, sorry, this is a bit long, read that's a bit longer, but I haven't done reads in a few days now. So I missed this, and sometimes that's what happens. That's what comes out. I have just a lot for you guys. And secondly, I guess somebody needs all that information. So I'm not exactly a free flow reader, but I go with it. You know, I don't have a specific timer of like everything has to be a certain amount. Some readings are shorter, some readings are longer, and I honor and respect any and all messages. So anyways, the advice from the universe. We have the Devil, the Ten of Wands, and the Two of Coins. So there's gonna be some temptation this month to take on somebody else's burdens, to try to do it all, try to be in a superhero mode. Which I'm not saying that you're not good at, that's not the point. And maybe you'll feel like you need to prove it to yourself or to somebody else that you can do it all. That's how good you are. But there is certain toxicity there in the energy, right? The ego that just like takes over, and before you know it, you may end up either falling sick or letting yourself down in terms of, you know, self-care and things that matter to you. Maybe time with loved ones, some kind of plans that you were excited about and now you have to cancel because you've suddenly committed yourself to so many more things, or they didn't go as planned, right? Like it's gonna bite you, it's gonna get you in the end. So this adrenaline that you feel momentarily of like, you know what, I can do this. Like, you don't want to do, I'll do it. I'll do everything on my plate and this as well, right? It may be tempting in that moment. It may be that impulse that drives you, but be very careful with it. And if anything, this is like a bit of a caution that even if you already agreed to it as we speak, you don't need to see it through all the way, right? There you can still make adjustments, you can still back out of it to a degree, right? Or get somebody else involved to help you with this so you don't burn yourself out. Again, that's where we started, right? Okay, last but not least, messages for Gemini from their person of interest. This is a very good reading, actually. I feel like for a lot of us, April is that month. And by the way, right now, we don't have any planets in retrograde. So all the planets are direct. And a lot of times that impacts us too in how we pursue our dreams and goals. So from your person, you have Ace of Wands, clarified by Ace of Swords. Oh my God, and Four of Wands. Wow. I mean, this is like it's a fairy tale. I mean, there are no cups here. So it's not necessarily emotional. It's more of like the drive, the passion, and the excitement that your person feels. But it's not impulsive from their side. They definitely know that the more they commit to you and the more they build their life out with you, the better it gets. The more truth they see in who they are and how they want to do this life and what they like, and maybe even how they want to change the world, right? The aces are very important and they're beautiful. This is, by the way, another new start, new beginning, right? There's something exciting. There's something that your person is excited about that has to do with the two of you. The next phase, I apologize guys for the dog. I have a dog in the background. There's something that they're excited about that they want to build with you, right? And there's Four of Wands here. So depending on where you are in the relationship, this is like that next level commitment. It's like I'm hearing the phrase, I'm seeing even the image of birds in a nest, right? Like preparing to have babies, setting up the nest, i.e. home. So anyways, lots of excitement. If you've already been together for a long time and you're like, yeah, this is old story, like we're already, married, built a home, had our kids, there's something else done. There's some kind of legacy that they want to build with you. And it's almost like this moment when it just clicks and they understand that maybe they were trying to see how they can build it by themselves. And now they get it, that you were that missing piece of puzzle, that's another moment of truth when it's like, this is exactly how it's supposed to be. Like this time and your union, your relationship had to happen for their plan, for their dream, for their project to come together, whether it's personal or professional. Okay, I hope this was good for Gemini. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, bye.